many times have you said to yourself, I'm going to succeed, and yet you keep coming up short? You probably noticed that high achievers with heart do things differently, but you just can't put your finger on it. You're curious about why high achievers accomplish more and have more satisfying relationships. It's because success is the result of your mindset and the consistent actions you take. This show is designed with your success in mind. By revealing these powerful patterns of our dynamic individuals and guest experts, you can model what they do and apply to your future success now. Let's roll up our sleeves and get started. My name is Brigitta Hoeferle, and this is the Success Patterns Show. And happy Tuesday, everyone. Here is the golden nugget. Success patterns are more valuable than ideas. Let me explain. While ideas are very powerful, they require trial and error and a lot of time to put actually into action. Think about manufacturing. First, you have an idea, then you go into a proof of concept, then a working prototype, then small production batches, and finally, full-scale production. This takes months, maybe even years, and you might have met some people who are collectors of ideas, but they do little else. Forget everything you know about ideas. You are not looking for ideas. You are looking for success patterns. Well, success patterns are different. That's why you're looking for them. And success patterns are better. Why? Well, success patterns are proven, have a logical sequence of steps to follow, have an action imperative, and deliver consistent results. In today's content-rich success pattern show, you're going to learn valuable success patterns from an educator and a medium. Her name is Michelle Henderson, and she is an educator and worked as a teacher in education, as an educational diagnostician and behavior analyst for over 30 years. In 2021, Michelle became a certified spiritual advisor with psychic and medium certificates through the Lisa Williams International School of Spiritual Development. With the knowledge that she's obtained there through her lifelong work with children, she became passionate about helping intuitive children embrace their gifts. Michelle also shares her innovative ideas with other light workers, giving them direction about supporting families of intuitive children. Can't wait to dive deeper into this. She's written a book, Spiritual Nurturing for Intuitive Children, training parents to embrace and enhance their psychic child's abilities. And it was published January 5th, 2022. She's also created a live podcast, which I happen to be a guest expert on as well. So thank you, Michelle, for having me on your podcast. And it's called the Michelle's Inspiration Hour, and she started that in 2022. Let's roll up our sleeves, like I said earlier, and welcome Michelle Henderson. Hey, Michelle,
Hey,
how are you?
I am so excited to be here.
I am honored that you are here, and we're going to talk all about children and intuition and anything and everything parents, as we're both educators. And it's a very,
Absolutely.
it's a topic near and dear to my heart.
Always a teacher,
Oh,
born a teacher, always a teacher.
always a teacher. Now, when you were young, did you, and as I was reading your bio, getting ready for our show today, you became aware of your abilities at around what, age 20?
Yes, but I also, when I was younger than that, now when I was 20, I had those spiritual awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever they were like knocking at my door saying, okay, it's time to work as an intuitive person. But when I was younger, I could actually feel all the energy around me. I could feel other people in the room. And I think because I could not see them, but I could feel them, and I was an empath, I could feel other people's thoughts and feelings. And, I was really an emotional wreck when I was in middle school and even in elementary school, because I'd be coming home just exhausted and I didn't want to sleep by myself at night. So I
Hmm.
knew that there's something going on, but because where I grew up and my beliefs, we don't talk about that.
What belief system did you grow up in?
I grew up in the Bible Belt of Texas, in a very small town, Abilene, Texas, and there's actually three different colleges, of Christianity. So it was a very conservative town, and anything that was outside the norm was not a good thing to talk about. So I just kind of shut down and, I thought, maybe this isn't normal. And I really became inside myself. I appeared shy. I know it's hard to believe, but I appeared very shy. And you can never turn down your intuitiveness or turn it off. I just turned it down. And then, like you said, in my 20s is whenever it came back. And I was still using it. When I taught school, I was able to use it. I knew what my kids needed to hear. I knew what they were needing. And I think we all have that. We're able to do that. Even as I think that's why we're teachers. It's because we have that empathic skill to use.
Now, you said, and I agree with you on all levels, and I want to dive deeper in a few things that you said.
Okay.
First, you used the word norm and normal.
Right.
Give us a description of norm and normal.
Well, okay. See, and you can tell that is still within my vocabulary of what I was taught. And there is, everything is normal. Nothing is not normal, because it's good that we question it. And if you have an experience and you go, what? You know what? My friends don't talk about that. It doesn't mean that it's not normal. It just means that, you're about to open up the door and learn something new about yourself and about the universe. And spirituality, that is what's so awesome is, God knows when you're ready to move on to something else.
I love what you just said, because that's another thing that I wanted to tap into. You use spirituality and God in the same sentence.
Yes.
Tell me more about that, because like you, I grew up in a very Christian-based household, and I think we're probably born around the same time, and it's that doctrine of this is the right way and everything else is not normal, therefore not the right way. Tell me more about that.
Okay. Yeah. And so talking about spirituality, it can mean different things to different people. Some people find spirituality, and to me, my definition is it shows that there's something greater than ourselves. Somebody, it can be energy, it could be angels, it could be God, it could be anybody that really makes you feel like, you know what, I am greater good, I am of the light. Okay. And people can find spirituality in religion. And some people, that's just where they thrive. That's what they need to do. It is very, people love the laws and the tribulations of a religion. And then some people just want to be spiritual. There's nothing wrong with that. And some people find it in both, which is like me. I still love going to church. I love being with my church friends. I love reading the Bible. And I also have my spiritual side as well. And that's my creative side. That's where I find my authentic side. The religion of myself is what I grew up with it. And it's a part of me. It's my puzzle piece that puts myself together.
Yeah. Woo. That was a great explanation. Thank you for that. So now that we have defined that, I want to go into, you've worked with children with all, abilities, differabilities.
Right.
I never liked the word that started with a DIS. They're all the way that all of these children are the way that they are, period.
Right.
Like I'd like to quote my husband, who's the culture guy, that normal is a dial on a washing machine. And now that I'm thinking about it, not even our washing machine has a normal anymore. It has like all these different knobs and things. And I think it even comes with an app that we can, all sorts of stuff. Anyway.
Right.
Children, intuition, teachers, intuition, parents, intuition. It belongs together. And yet over the years, I feel like that a lot of the knowledge based or a lot of the information had to make way for the intuition. If it's not logic, it makes no sense. Therefore, it's not tangible. We cannot assign it.
Right.
But yet, my husband says, "Oh my gosh, we need to trademark your intuition. We need to trademark your gut feeling because you're right." And often, I was questioning my gut feeling because you can't put your finger on it. There's no confirmation in any way. It's just a feeling. We have children that are very intuitive, and you work with them. And tell me more about that kind of work, because that's fascinating.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely, and I love it. When a mom or dad comes to me and they're going, you know what, my child. Now, when you look at intuitiveness, it's kind of another term that we use as psychic abilities, right? That they're in tuned to this energy. And sometimes, again, they're empaths, they get their emotions. They sometimes will see grandparents, that have gone long and gone or deceased, and maybe the mom and dad never talked about it. And sometimes they'll remember past lives the younger they are. And, the number one question that the parents always have for me is my child in danger? Is my child going to be okay? And then as I talk about the situations of what this child is going through, the parent always says, oh my gosh, you know what? I went through the same thing I did when I was younger that my child is going through. And I'm just the light just came on. And so, I always say, look at it from, again, a spiritual point of view, because it is the divine that is connecting us in. Because even though we can't see or we can't feel, we just know in our gut feeling that we're being guided somehow. It is still there. That logical mind, yes, gets in the way. But that logical mind also helps us live from day to day. It helps us make those good decisions to keep us alive. But however, the creativity of ourselves are the intuition side that you cannot ignore.
We are holistic beings,
Yes.
If we really in some of the teachings that I teach is the whole Gestalt, and Gestalt is a German word. It means the whole being. We are all one being, and there is no one mold that we come out of, one mold Gestalt that everyone has to fit in. Gosh, that would be horrible and horribly boring, right?
Absolutely.
But then if it's intangible, and the work that you do is very intangible, we try to find confirmations. We try to make meaning. We try to, stay safe. Now, before we started our show today, we talked about, how, especially nowadays, I don't know if maybe that was a thing back in the days as well, but I think it's a lot more nowadays that parents want to be friends with their kids, that parents want to, be on the same level with their kids. And children come from a place of seeking safety.
Right.
Now, if they're on the same level with the parent, what does that do with a child, and do they still feel safe?
Oh my gosh. And you're bringing out the behaviorist in me now. So I'm going to bring out that behavior therapist. So whenever a parent tries to be friend with their child, that is because they don't really have the guidance or the direction that they needed as a child as well. Either that, or they're going, I'm not going to be as strict as what my parent was. But you got to remember, we are products of our environment. So yes, for a child to feel safe and know the rules and the laws that we all have them for our safety, they also need to have it. Okay. And I always say, as a behaviorist, whatever behavior you keep seeing in your child is working for some reason. And the only way to change it is change your behavior. So if your child is not sleeping through the night and they keep coming into your room because they want to be in bed with you, and nothing is wrong, they just want to be with you, and they're going, I can't go to sleep. You've got to ignore that behavior. And if you ever saw the nanny show, the British nanny show is wonderful to see. When I was going through to get my degree in behavior analysis. All the behaviorists love that show. And sometimes you have to do the ignore behavior for the child to change their own behavior. It's
Mm.
also like being in the grocery store and they want a candy bar. And they keep going, Mom, I want this candy bar. I want this candy bar. And you go, oh, okay. They'll do it again. So you got to say no, put the candy bar back. If the kid starts screaming, you go, okay, it's time to go. I'm going to finish my groceries and we're going to go. And we're
Mhm.
going to go home and you're going to your bedroom.
That means that as a parent, when you say you're going to do something, if you
Yes.
ask one more time, then we're going to leave, or then
Right.
whatever's going to happen, it has to then happen. I mean, it's
Right.
the children are smart little things.
Oh, they are.
They're
so
smart things, and they
manipulative.
got you figured out in no time.
Absolutely. You know what? Whatever works, works. Hey, but and I think, and I love it that they do want to be friends with their child.
Mhm.
You can do that, but at a different stage in life.
Tell me more about that.
Okay. So whenever you're raising your child, you still need to be the authority. You still need to say, this is my house. This is how things, especially when they become teenagers. But all of us go through that. All of us want to be independent. Your child is going to try to go against the grain and try to test you and test society. That's what they are supposed to do. But you still have to have those guidelines. You have to, say, all right, this is my boundaries. This is what I'm going to do. As a child gets older, and I know I wasn't a human until my oldest child was in her 20s. When she started making her own money, I started becoming human again. That's when we became friends. and she calls me, and my younger one calls me all the time just to talk. And it's awesome to get here. But you know what? I don't think they would have respected me as a friend if I was like that when they were younger.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. I want to go back to the pattern of intuitive children that are growing up as intuitive individuals and adults. And you said something earlier about yourself, and how you're able to feel. And I think a lot of people are able to feel, especially empaths, right?
Mhm. Right.
How do you shield, or how do you learn to shield yourself so you're not just this emotional sponge for everyone?
Oh,
'Cause just
absolutely. And
thinking about that, Michelle,
yeah.
makes me want to puke.
Oh, absolutely. And you'll see and you'll understand. It kind of gives you the understanding of when an empath says, I am not going to the mall. I am not going to Walmart because of all the energy and all the people that I feel and I can hear their thoughts. It's very understandable. So if you can catch this at a very young age, it's easier to control. So from a child point of view, you've got to teach a child what their feelings are. Okay. And what feeling, you got to talk about feelings and emotions, period, and say what you're feeling is not your emotions. If you're sad and there's no reason why you should be sad, right? Then you need to go ahead and say, okay, that's somebody else's feelings. I'm going to release that. So you learn how to, and I know it's very hard for some people, but you learn how to kind of put a bubble around you. What I do is if I start feeling the energy, and especially during, special ed meetings, the parents would get very emotional. I could start feeling that. And I had to be very professional. So what I started doing is kind of like superhero, right? Is I would concentrate and I would think of my energy pushing and giving them love energy back, but pushing my energy towards them. And that would take their energy so that they would have to hold on to it. So you just learn coping mechanisms. And sometimes when I come home from a holistic fair, I have to go take a salt bath. And what a salt bath does is it gets other people's energy off of your aura and your energy. So you start learning these bits of information, but you've got to find people that have gone through the same thing that you have gone through so that they can give you different strategies.
Mm-hmm. That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I've heard more nowadays. I hear more that someone's social tank is full. Like, I
Yes.
didn't hear
Yes.
that when I was, I don't know. Did you hear that when you were growing up? That someone's social
I
tank?
didn't hear it, but I knew whenever I had enough and I would have to go into my bedroom and be there all day. or even when I taught school, I would have to be at home all afternoon on the weekends.
Mhm.
I was burned out.
Mhm.
So absolutely, you just almost feel like you have the flu, that
Mhm.
you're just worn out. And you start, and that's when you know, okay, I need to do my self-care.
Mhm.
And you've got to get yourself away from other people. And you also need to start learning how to clear the energy from your house, because you can bring other energies in. And what I use is I just use a spray. And it's called Florida water, and everybody loves the smell, but it's kind of like sage, but it's a spray. It doesn't smell, you don't have the smoke or anything.
Mhm.
And it just smells so good. And kids, if they want to clear their room, this kind of gives them the power too. They get the spray and they start spraying it all over the room, and it feels so good and it smells fantastic.
So I hear clearing your aura with a salt bath. Now, what kind of salt?
In the pharmacy, any pharmacy, you can find these bath packets, and it will say the salt. Iodine salt or something. I can't
Mhm.
remember. And there's
Mhm.
different flavors that you can get.
Okay,
Yeah.
so salt bath, Florida water spray,
Yes. Or sage. Yes.
or yeah, you can smudge sage,
Yeah.
which is an acquired taste for some people.
And then crystals will work too.
What kind of crystals?
And it's so interesting is because, see, for me, I don't really have to use crystals. Okay. But for certain people, they have to use crystals to protect themselves.
Mhm.
And it depends on what you need. So I tell everybody to go into a crystal store and hold the crystals, the different kinds of crystals,
Ah,
to see which one you gravitate to.
yeah.
I know you can read a book and say, okay, this is for protection or whatever, but you've got to find out what your energy works with. You've
Mhm.
got to be in contact with that crystal to
Mhm.
determine which one will work for you.
Mhm. And then the advanced version is to truly, when you own your own power, you can create that that sphere around you, that aura around you that will push back some of
Yes.
the energies that you don't want to allow in. Now, when we're dealing with, you said it earlier, there's going to be behaviors
Mhm.
of children coming and wanting to sleep in mommy daddy's bed,
Mhm.
or they want candy, or whatever the behaviors. But if we're talking about, say, infants, like little infants,
Oh, yeah.
is there, what can there be some energies around them that will
Mm.
constantly wake them up?
Oh, yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes. So, whenever, and especially, okay, so when somebody is pregnant, okay, you will have, great grandmothers, great grandfathers, uncles, aunts, anybody in your family that has crossed over, they will be with you watching this baby, because it's a spiritual thing that connects us with God. Okay. So whenever there is a baby, okay, the baby, and you can kind of test it by looking at the baby, trying to make the eye contact. Now, depending on how old they are, they may not be able to see you because their eyes haven't adjusted yet,
Mhm.
but they can look off in the distance and they can see a loved one, looking over the crib with them. And sometimes, that the one that has crossed over will just kind of like play with them, and they can actually see the apparition as you would see me. Okay. So they actually can make themselves known. The younger a child is, they can actually see a full body apparition. And as toddlers, yeah, if you see them looking off in the distance, or laughing or have an imaginary friend, that could be a loved one with them.
Yeah,
So
imaginary
absolutely.
friends are a very common thing,
Yeah.
and I love that you mentioned that there are loved ones around.
Mhm.
And a quick story, and I'm pretty sure you're going to appreciate that. About 2-3 years after my dad passed away in 2013, I was sitting at the massage place waiting to get a massage, and I thought Karen, my massage therapist back then, came around. I was all by myself in the waiting room, and touched me on my shoulder to ask me into the room, and I turned around and there was no one there. And in that moment I knew it was my
Mhm.
dad who was there, just
Mhm.
kind of, saying, hey, I'm here, I just want you to know I'm here. And that was the first time that I've ever ever felt him like that. That was the first time
Wow.
I've ever felt or experienced anything like that. Because on the contrary, I'm a person, I can be around all people all day long,
Mhm,
and their energies hardly affect me at all.
mhm.
Like
Right.
when my daughter was younger, and they started introducing the concept of um their social tank being full, I was dumbfounded. I was like, I didn't know that that's a thing.
Absolutely. And you know what a gift that your dad gave to you, to make that physical contact. And just know that you were very open because massage therapists are very intuitive. They can see the energy and everything. Most of them can. And so that opens you up to be able to experience what you experienced.
Mm,
And like the yoga will do it as well. It kind of clears your mind a little bit, working with energy, and also meditation.
mhm. Yeah, just kind of, and that also helped me notice of, how high energy I am. Not that no one of my family ever told me that or not. We won't discuss that today. But I think, when I get in tune with who I am, I can allow others in, and I
Right.
would say that's true for everyone. It's
And that's how it should be, because you don't want to start dealing with something that you don't understand if you don't understand yourself first.
true.
Because it's so interesting how God gives us experiences, because your clients who you help will kind of be through the same experiences as you did.
Yeah.
And so you've got to know yourself. And if you're going through a difficult time, that's not the time to try to heal other people. You need to heal yourself.
Amen. Isn't that the
Yeah.
truth?
Yes.
Now, who is usually coming to you to work with you? Like, who's your ideal client? Who knocks on your
Oh my
door and says,
gosh.
I need you, Michelle? Who is that?
My ideal client, which I love, it's not the ones that I can read very easily. There's some people that you can get in, you can read, and everything makes sense to them, and you're going, oh, that's fantastic. No, it's the one, it's the ones that really need the message, that are having a hard time grasping it and understanding it, because sometimes they may not be believers, or maybe they're hurting and they need that healing touch. They need the message, they need the love, they need that wonderful energy, and they're difficult clients. But those are the ones that really I go, you know what, that's why I'm doing what I am doing now, is I'm able to really help these people and help heal them with the patience and just listening to them.
So you love the challenge.
Yes. My ego gets in the way, and they're going, no, we don't want to do this. I'm going, that's why I'm here. Get away. But yes, because if it was all easy, I wouldn't be helping that many people,
Yeah.
you
No.
know? And
Yeah.
and I had one, I thought she was going to come across the table at me, because I brought in a stepdad that she did not like. And she said, and she started connecting in with his energy, I guess. And she almost came at me. And I'm going, okay, you want me to tell him to go away? And she said, no, I want to know what he wants. And it was like the whole entire time. And I'm sweating. And at the very end, she said, thank you so much. I was needing that.
Wow. That's,
Yeah.
sometimes we need to look at, or I would say every time we need to look at the things that we don't want to look at, so we can
Right.
actually heal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you came bearing gifts, Michelle.
Oh, I did. Okay.
What did
Yes.
you bring?
So, anybody that's listening to this podcast, okay, and towards the end, and I say congratulations, because the percentage of people that, anyway, so I'm going to give you a gift. So, if you go to my website, Michelle Henderson Medium, you can schedule a 45-minute psychic reading, and it's half off, $75, but you have to put in the keyword in lowercase podcast 25. And
So
you can schedule it on the calendar and pay all in one place.
so you all they do is go to your website, michellehendersonmedium.com, and they look for the 45-minute psychic medium reading, and then they
Yes.
put in lowercase podcast 25.
Right. And on my website, it will say booking, book with me. And that's the tab that you go to.
That's the tab
And
that you go to.
yeah, and they can either have a psychic reading or a mediumship reading or both. If
What's
you
the
don't know
difference?
what, oh, I was going to say, okay, so a psychic reading is whenever I connect in with the client. Okay, I connect in with your aura. It's a soul to soul connection with you. And we talk about what guidance you need in your life. And that could be health, finances, relationships is always the number one thing. Uh, just anything that you need. Okay. Now, mediumship is whenever I connect in with a loved one and we get validation to make sure who I'm talking to. I can't always guarantee who will come across. I will always try because there's always a reason who comes across will be bearing the message. And the message is the most important thing while we do mediumship.
Wow, that's fascinating. Now, say there's a parent that's listening and they are, let's just take the example that we had earlier. They're not sleeping at night because their toddler or their infant is not sleeping at night. Can
Right.
you help them?
Yes. Yes. So you want me to tell you where to go for answers?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's also a free discovery call. So if you want to have an answer like that, it's like, I say it's 15 minutes, but usually it turns into 30 minutes. So it's a free discovery call, and that way I can answer any question that you have. And that's the same place as booking, and it will say free discovery call.
So free discovery call for parents like that.
Right.
Wow. What an incredible offer. What an incredible wealth of knowledge you have brought to this show.
Well, thank you.
So guys, buy salt bath, crystals, smudge, Florida water. What can you get Florida water? Where do you
Okay, it's actually cologne.
Oh,
but it is a sage, and you can get it on Amazon, and it comes in huge bottles for like $7. And I put it in a little bitty bottle for the spray, and it smells really nice.
well,
But the number, yeah.
I'm buying it. My daughter's going to college. I'm buying it.
Absolutely.
We might as well smudge the whole dorm.
Yes.
I might get in trouble for that. So we
No.
might not do that. So crystals, Florida water, smudging, bath salts, and having your own aura push against other energy.
Just working with your energy and not letting anybody else's energy into your aura, and just know that you are the one in control, not to be afraid of it, and get knowledgeable about it. Knowledge.
Yeah. And you definitely have it. Michelle, thank you for being here. To reiterate again, MichelleHendersonMedium.com. Go book a session with Michelle. You're going to absolutely love it. She's a wealth of knowledge. And for all the parents out there, if you have any toddlers that are not sleeping, get with Michelle because you need your sleep. Michelle, thank you for being on the show. Guys, tune in again next week, same time, same place for the Success Pattern Show on Tuesday at 4:30. Make sure that you give us a subscribe, thumbs up on YouTube and on all of the podcast stations. Until then, thank you and ciao for now. Thank you for tuning in, and you will notice opportunities to apply success patterns daily while eagerly anticipating next week's content-rich success patterns.